fire with everyone. Indian fever. You can be part of the fun. You're the winner at every game. That's where the excitement begins. So catch Indian fever. Be a believer with the Cleveland Indians.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the January. I'm a mess tonight. The February 18th, 2019 Lake County Sentinel Podcast. I was having some audio difficulties. We were trying to set it up so we could play audio of an interview that the media had with Francisco Lindor today. We were having some audio problems. For some reason, I could not get it to work. I was going to play the video. I am winging it tonight since the video or audio did not work. So I'm somewhat winging it. I was prepared for 13 minutes of Francisco Lindor. I was not prepared to have to talk tonight. So it's going to take, we're going to have a normal show. We'll go over what's going on over the weekend. The NBA had All-Star Weekend. Of course, there were no Cavaliers in the game yesterday, but there were Jetty Osmond participated in the Rising Stars game on Saturday, and he had an okay night, but I almost feel like the broadcast was mostly to promote guys from the Lakers. That's pretty much what it was. Guys from the Lakers and Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic I can understand. But of course, we know why they promoted the Lakers guys. I mean, they basically said, I don't know who won MVP of the game because I turned it off at the end because it got hard to watch because they were constantly just promoting Lakers players. So I turned it off. So I don't know who won MVP, but I'll tell you something. From before it even started, they were basically trying to give it to Kyle Kuzma before the ball was even tipped. It was ridiculous. So it made the game hard to watch. You know, Jetty was just a guy there. You know, I swear, I don't even think the broadcasters knew his name. Well, they did because they kept trying to use the Star Wars thing. You know, oh, the Jedi hits. They're so pathetic. It's so pathetic how as soon as LeBron James is gone from Cleveland, the Cavaliers are non-existent on the NBA landscape. I will give Ernie Johnson credit because at halftime, Ernie Johnson tried to bring up the fact that Colin Sexton wasn't there, and Kenny Smith out of nowhere says, well, Kevin Knox had to be here. Well, yeah, why did Kevin Knox have to be there, Kenny Smith? Kevin Knox had to be there because who does he play for? Oh, yeah, he plays for the Knicks, who have a worse record than the Cavaliers. Unbelievable. So it was pretty hard to watch. I'm glad Jetty Osmond got to go and enjoy himself. And it, you know, that's a good thing because I think he's going to be a really good player. But it was just disappointing how TNT had picked certain guys they wanted to shine in the game before it even started. It was really ridiculous. So, you know, the Cavaliers will play their next game on Thursday night, the 21st, against the Phoenix Suns. That's home again at the Q. And they will have, you know, hopefully Kevin Love will play. Who knows? Maybe Tristan Thompson is even close to coming back. I don't know. But I like where they're at, believe it or not. I know they're 12-46, but I like where they're at. I'm telling you something. This team is going to win 20 games. I'm going to predict that. They're going to go at least 8-16 in the second half of the season. They're going to win 20 games. You know, this is not, by far not the worst Cavs team ever. Not even close. I mean, this team's competitive in a lot of games. Yeah, they've had a lot of games that have been horrible, but they're competitive in a lot of games. You know, and you know, they've won games, so you'll say, well, how can you compare them to that? But I'll tell you, I'll compare them to the 0-16 Browns, because that they were 0-16, but I don't think they were the worst team in the NFL that year. So, there's no way the Cavs are the worst team in the NBA. The Cavs have some talent, you know. So, excuse me. So, Thursday night, the Cavs will host the Phoenix Suns, who are 11-48. So they're a game and a half behind the Cavs for that number one pick. I don't know if you have to get the number one pick. You know, there's several good guys. My NBA draft guru, my son, tells me that the NBA draft is very deep and that you could even get a really good player in the second round. So there's hope for the Cavs, and I'm anxious to see the second half. I really am. I think if they could go 8-16 in the second half, that's a heck of an improvement. All right. That's a heck of an improvement. Because I believe they were 9-41. They were 9-41. Now they're 12-46. So if they ended up going 11-16, 11-21 in their last 32 games, that's a .333 percentage, and that's not horrible. That's not epically bad. It's not great. It's not going to get you to the playoffs, but we don't want them to make the playoffs anyway. So just some improvement the second half of the season would be really nice. The final 24 games. They're already in the second half of the season. But the final 24 games, if they can improve a little bit, that would really be nice. And I think they will. I honestly think Colin Sexton's going to be better. Jetty Osman's going to be better. You know, they have really, I think they've improved the roster. Yeah, Kevin Love coming back is going to help a lot. I mean, Jordan Clarkson, he's basically the leading scorer every night. Dellavedova has done what Dellavedova does. And excuse me, Larry Nance has been better. Larry Nance is getting better all the time. Zizic has been better. And like I said, if Tristan Thompson can come back, then they've got a chance to be, pretty watchable in the final 24 games. Does Colin Sexton have a chance to win Rookie of the Year? No way. Luka Doncic's going to win Rookie of the Year. Does Colin Sexton have a chance to even come in second? No way. Because they're going to give it probably to Kevin Knox, which is ridiculous because the guy missed like 20 games and isn't even that good. Trae Young will probably finish ahead of Sexton, but that's all right. That's all right. Who cares? Who cares if you win Rookie of the Year? Who cares? To me, it's almost more satisfying if you don't win Rookie of the Year and then you end up better than the people who finished ahead of you. Happened to Sandy Alomar. Happened to Kenny Lofton. Happened to Manny Ramirez. So, that's good, but he won't win Rookie of the Year. That's fine. The fact that he's improved game by game all year is the most important thing. I don't care if he wins any awards. So that's the Cavs update. Now we're going to go to the Monsters now. The Monsters will be in action on Wednesday night at 7:05 in Rockford against the Ice Dogs. And that, as I said, the game is at 7:05. The Monsters had a split weekend. Well, Saturday and Sunday, they split. They're in 6th place. But they made they had a good win yesterday. They beat, or they tied, I believe, or did they win in overtime? They did not lose yesterday. They played Utica, and it was, that's a game they needed to get. They needed to play well because Utica was way behind them when they faced them for the first time this year. And then Utica just passed them. So what happened this weekend was they won 2-1 Friday. They lost 4-2 Saturday. And then they lost 5-4 in overtime yesterday. So they did get 3 points over the weekend. Which is good, but not good enough. They are still 5 points behind Belleville for the 5th to be in 5th place, and 7 points behind the Toronto Marley to be in the final playoff spot in the North Division of the American League. So they hopefully can get it going. I mean, it looks like they have 27 games left, I believe. 27 games left. They're going to have to get some points. They're going to have to play well. But with the injuries they've had and the fact they've called guys up all year, it's hard. And that's what happens in the minor leagues. It's the same in the AHL as it is if you are a fan of a minor league baseball team. Look, I cover the Lake County Captains. I've been covering the Captains since 2003. And this will be my 17th year coming up. That's what happens. The big club takes your players, moves them around, and then you don't, if you got some momentum, you lose it because the players leave. But that's the nature of the beast. You can't expect the team to leave a player there. If Columbus needs a player, they got to take him away from the Monsters. That's just how it goes. So while this season's disappointing, there are reasons why this season has gone the way it's gone. And hopefully, hopefully it can improve in the last 27 games. And hopefully they can make the playoffs. Just a minute here on the Icebreakers. It did not go well again this weekend for them. They did not win a game. They lost to Carolina. Both games. And from what I heard, is some of the players on Carolina were quite vocal to the Mentor fans and yelling some pretty classless things from some of the stuff I saw on social media. And that's wrong, but I'm not surprised because a lot of times when you get a team like that, that's so good, they usually have some bullies on it. And from what I understand, that's basically what they were doing over the weekend. They didn't kill the Mentor badly. They beat them 4-1 and 3-1. Considering some of the games that Mentors had, that's not too bad. But their next game is at home. The Icebreakers' next game is at home on Friday at 7:35 against the Danville Dashers. Hopefully they can pick up a win. That's pretty much all for the sports report. we will be right back after the break, and we will talk some news and politics after this. All right, we're back with the second half of the Lake County Sentinel podcast tonight. One thing we won't have tonight is we will not have a stock market report, as the stock market was closed today due to the holiday. So, but there's a lot of other news. Okay, and the first one I'm going to touch on is the news that's coming out of Chicago in regards to the attack, well, the alleged attack on Empire star Jussie Smollet. He reported about 2 weeks ago that he was attacked by two men. Maybe it was more than 2 weeks ago. He was attacked by two men in Chicago when he was there for a taping of Empire, the show that he's one of the stars of. He claimed he was attacked by two men, that they beat him and that they hung a noose around his neck, and he claimed that they yelled, "This is MAGA country," as they were running away. So I don't know at this point what's going on. And I'm going to admit that I was skeptical of the story from the start. I don't want to sound rotten. I was. I told my son, we were watching the news, I told him, I said, I am skeptical of this story. I don't know him personally. I've only seen him in interviews. I saw him on a talk show recently, and that was before the attack. And I said to myself when it was over, this guy he will say anything for people to like him. And that's what I thought then. The negative part of this is that the MAGA people who discriminate against African Americans and that discriminate against homosexuals and the LGBT community are going to use this against the whole community, just because if it's true that he lied, just because one guy lied. And then we got the classless Donald Trump Jr. tweeting, "Hey, Hollywood and media types, I've noticed a lot of you deleted your hashtag justice for Jussie tweets. What's the matter? Don't you want justice for him anymore? Hashtag frauds." See, now that's where he hurt people. He hurt people because it gives a voice to scumbags like Donald Trump Jr. Donald Trump Jr., a piece of crap that grew up wealthy, never had to work for anything in his life, is nothing but a big mouth who says stuff about people, ripped on teachers the other day. Now he goes after, people that supported Jussie. Hey, look, it looked like this was an actual attack. Are people idiots because they had sympathy and were going to support a guy? They didn't know that he lied. Donald Trump Jr. doesn't realize or understand what it is to have a soul and to care about people. Okay? He doesn't understand that. The Trumps don't understand what it is to have a soul and to care about people and to have sympathy for a person. They don't care about anyone but themselves. They're arrogant. They're arrogant assholes. Okay? And that's what he proves with a tweet like that. People who supported him, Jussie Smollet, are not frauds. They fell for the same con that Trump supporters fell for. Okay? He lied. He conned people. And now they look bad. And it's going to make it harder for, gay people or African American people, people of color, to come out and report attacks, racist attacks, because people are going to say, oh, they're lying like Jussie Smollett. So, but I expect nothing less from a Trump to come out and say stuff against him and against the people who supported him. I would have been stunned if one of the Trumps didn't say something negative and make fun of him, because that's what they do. Okay, that's what they do. If it ends up being true that he paid the guys to attack him and paid the guys to put the noose around his neck, then it's horrible. But that does not mean that every African American or every person in the LGBT community is a liar and makes stuff up. That just means that Jussie Smollett is a liar and makes stuff up and made a stupid decision. Who knows why he did it? Okay? Who knows why he did it? Was it selfish? What was the reason? I don't know. Some people said that he may have done it because he was going to get written off the show, and he thought that this would get him publicity and they'd keep him on the show. Honestly, I'm going to tell you this. As far as the show goes, I'm an Empire fan. I've not watched the current season because I watch it on DVD, but I'm an Empire fan, and I'm not a big fan of his character on the show. So it wouldn't really bother me if they wrote him off. It wouldn't really surprise me if they were going to write him off, because his character is kind of boring. It's kind of boring. The show is full of energy, and he doesn't bring a lot of energy to the show. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were writing him off. And if he did this so he wouldn't get written off the show, wow, that's really desperate. You're gonna hurt a whole movement, a whole civil rights movement. You're gonna put a black mark on it so you can stay on a TV show? I mean, if that's the reason he did it, shame on him. If he did it, shame on him for any reason he did it. But that's even worse, that he would put a whole movement at risk to save his spot on a TV show. I don't know. I think that's it's pretty selfish if you ask me. And if that's the case, which maybe we'll find out. I mean, his publicist is totally denying it. Okay. totally denying that he did it. So if he didn't do it, then the Chicago PD is going to be in trouble, because you can't say that someone did something if they didn't do it. And so we'll eventually find out if he did it, but I have a feeling that it is a made up story, and that it's gonna not end up well for him, I have a feeling. And which is a shame, because like I said, you're putting a whole movement in jeopardy with selfishness. I mean, like I said, if this was because he wanted to save his role on Empire, wow, that's selfish. That's selfish. If you're really talented, you'll get other roles. You don't put a whole movement at risk because you want to save your skin on a TV show. So in the coming days, we're going to find out. But like I said, I was skeptical of the story from the start. And I kind of felt bad that I was skeptical of the story from the start, because I didn't want to be on the same side as these hateful MAGA people. But it's not that I'm on the same side as them. It's just, I guess, that something seemed odd to me. And it looks like it's going to turn out that I'm right. So I just hope that people understand that this is one man making a bad decision, doing something dumb. And this does not reflect on all African American males. This should not reflect on all LGBT people. He's one man. Okay? One man. So remember that, MAGA supporters, because you would say that if one person, a MAGA supporter, did something, you would say the same thing. You would say that doesn't reflect on everybody. It's just him. Remember that. So that's going to be it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Maybe we'll be able to get that Lindor audio from today's news conference. It was 12 minutes. It's a good listen. So hopefully we'll be able to get it for tomorrow. But until then, I hope everybody has a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.